Amazon was not in the book business, right? Amazon was is in the logistics business. And understanding that he's in the logistics business then gives him this bigger view of all I have to do is get things and services to people faster. And now I can go into any field that I want.
So as you're working through a thing, you come up with challenges. Everyone deals with challenges, especially when you're trying to do something big. How do you draw the balance between if I keep pushing, it'll make it, or maybe I should just change course here? How do you make those kinds of decisions?
Yeah, so I was just teaching. Every year we do business planning clinic, and we do that in October so that we can prepare our agents for 2022. Because what we do today shows up 90 days from now. And part of that, we talk about moving from E to P. And what that means, that's Keller Williams lingo for moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Okay. And an entrepreneur, how does an entrepreneur think? We tend to be creative. We tend to think that we have a better mousetrap, if you will.
Yeah.
And so what that results in is when we hit our natural ceiling of achievement, because we all have them. Okay. Your natural ceiling of achievement might be, 50 loans a month. Okay. Like you can just sling that in your sleep. Okay. Others might be 100 or 20. It doesn't really matter. We all have a natural ceiling of achievement. And in order for us to move with enough speed and power to break through that natural level of achievement, we have to move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Okay. And so I have it too. All right. As we grow, we hit our head against certain revenue ceilings, against certain numbers of units closed. And if we're going to break through that and move into the next level, we do have one of two options. Like you said, we can hit our head and change course, or we can choose to think in bigger systems and bigger models so that we can break through. Okay. And so really, in order to break through, you just have to ask the question, is the model that I'm running my business on big enough to support the life that I want to live? Does that make sense?
Keep going.
Okay.
Please.
So here's what I find with realtors all the time. They run their business a certain way and they consistently close 15 deals a year. Okay. And rather than saying, okay, who around me is closing 50 deals a year? And what are the models that they're running their business on? They continue to run their business the same exact way and expect a different result. And we all know that's called insanity. Okay. And so if you're going to break through that natural ceiling of achievement, you need to be willing to slow down enough to adjust your model. And that could mean economic differences. It could mean budget differences. It could mean different, different agencies, different lead generation techniques. So, and that is different than simply just veering off course, because other agents will do the same thing year after year after year after year after year until they burn themselves out. And then they just go find something different to do. Okay. And so that's why I think it's crucial if you are self-employed, if you are a self-employed business owner, it is crucial that you have a coach. It is crucial that you have someone from the outside of your business looking in to help you realize, hey, your model doesn't support that. Hey, that's not the margin you're shooting for. Hey, you should probably try this a little bit differently. Oh, hey, you're not being accountable to the results that you say you want and you're being a squirrel. Okay. Because realtors are famous for every shiny object that comes out. Oh yeah, I'll throw my money over there. I'll throw my money over there. Right.
Well, I think that's partially the realtor, of course, but I also think it's partially the real estate environment, right? Because these are the people that have the mad marketing skills. These are the people that they make the objects very shiny, and agents, in my opinion, and you obviously, a lot more than I do, but they tend to be very service oriented. They want to take care of people. They want to make a difference for people, and they're not naturally business people and they're not mostly naturally salespeople. So when this alternative gap or a bridge comes in that can take away something that they don't want to really do anyway, they kind of flock to it and then get sidetracked.
Here's what I find. I think with most of the top, I get to consult with thousands of top real estate agents in the Valley now, and what I find often, Erik, is the biggest challenge that agents have is this shift from salesmanship to leadership. Because selling someone and leading someone is completely different skill set. And so when we talk about, bringing on like assistants and other leverage into your life so that you can grow, here at KW Arizona, we teach a lot about team building. And that doesn't mean like having 30, 40, 50 agents on your team. It can, but it could just be bringing on that first assistant. And a lot of agents struggle with that because they don't know how to lead well. And so the bulk of my time is really spent with my agents trying to help them become better leaders and trying to model what being a leader looks like so that they can make better decisions, so that they can create retention inside of their world. And so I just find that one of the biggest reasons why agents have a tough time with that shift is also just fierce conversations, not being willing to have, conflict. No one likes conflict, but as a professional, we have to grow in our relationship with conflict and conflict resolution. So we do a lot of teaching and coaching around that inside of our brokerage.
That's pretty smart. And again, this is another, I think, universal truth, which is if you're on a rocket ship to the moon, there's a lot of conflict to get to the moon, right? To get where you want to go, there's always going to be that struggle and that, pushing and pulling and an extra weight or gravity or whatever. And having support to get through it, having a great direction plan, it's essential to going where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
How do you, when you started KW Arizona, how many people started with you? How do you grow a business to 500 agents? How do you do that? Do you start from scratch? Do you start with 100? Like, how do you?
Yeah,
that's a whole other universe, right?
We could spend an entire interview just talking about the structure of KW. I guess the way I'd boil it down is KW is the largest real estate company in the world by agent count, by transaction size, by volume. I mean, you name the metric. We're the largest brand. And so when you start a franchise, you're typically not starting it, you're buying a territory essentially.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
And so Keller Williams Arizona has actually been in existence for 19 years. Okay. So we'll be celebrating 20 years soon. When I got here and took on my role, we had 300 agents. That was January of 2020, right before the pandemic. I moved my family across the country, right? And perfect time to move. It was awesome. At least we had a pool.
Let me just chime in there first and say in the real estate game, nobody talks about this anymore. By the way, it's very gutsy. There's a lot of words that could describe what you did. Gutsy. I'm going to use gutsy, but we all know what the words are. In January of 2020, everybody that I know thought the market was going to collapse. All of them. Even people that had like tons of investment properties, tons of experience, they were liquidating their investment properties. It looked like it was about like big time down. And you went the opposite way at a time where everybody was full of fear. That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, what does Warren Buffett say? When the cheeseburgers are on sale, you don't run away, you buy two. And so no, I mean, I honestly wasn't looking too much at market dynamics, except for the landscape of the Phoenix market and recognizing that I wanted to be in a place that was ultra competitive, where all the tech people are starting up, because I like playing the game. Like the game is a lot of fun. And if I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it long term, I want to do it in a place that has great potential and has a lot of competition. And so, yeah, I mean, moved here January 2020, get into this business, 300, leading through a pandemic, leading through crisis. I mean, I'm a pretty young leader. And so I'll admit, like I did a lot of things wrong. I screwed up a lot of things. And at the same time, we look back right now and we're going to cross 400 agents this month. And so through a pandemic, continuing to see sustained growth in our brokerage has been incredible. And I attribute it to, I mean, they're not, watching this right now. I hope they listen, but I attribute it to my team. I know as a leader that if I can be the most team centric to my executive leadership team for them and devote the majority of my time to helping them grow, that it frees them up to go help our agents and be the most agent centric brokerage that we can possibly be. And here's the thing, Erik, if we're the most agent centric brokerage in the Valley, it frees our agents then up to be the most consumer centric agents in the Valley. And we know that the most consumer centric businesses win. And so that's our whole play. I mean, there you go. There's our business plan. There's our game plan. Anyone who wants to copy it, that's how we think about this, this game.
Good luck. I mean, in the end, I feel like success is built around culture, and you can pay people to do certain things, but you can't pay them to really care about it. You can pay them to worry about losing a thing, but that's different than like getting them to getting their passion engaged, right? That's why you're growing. And again, just to sort of paint a bigger picture here, what we know that I think everyone should know is that during a scary time like the pandemic and when that started, people start making big changes. Agents, they leave, they like, I can't, and then they start going. And so for you to grow during a time of real uncertainty is kudos to your leadership. I mean, that means that you retained and you attracted and you supported, and everybody's at different levels. Some people are really needy. Some people are, they need a little bit, they just need stuff and they're done. Some people, and to manage all of that with all these personalities, my question is, how did you do it? How did you go in? You're the guy, right? You own now, you've taken this risk. How do you show yourself to be somebody worthy of following, worthy of trusting? How did you do that when you first came in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with having, having an investor group, a board, if you will, that truly believes in the vision that I have and carrying it out. And so having those people that I get to work hand in hand with every single day, Kristen Cole, Jim Dunning, Rich Barker, Martha Andrews, that was the biggest thing. People around you who said, hey, we trust you. We want this for our organization. Like, let's go do it together. And being able to wake up every day knowing that like you have people with you that have your back. I mean, that's huge. The other thing I think is humility. I think one of the things that the pandemic taught us was that that people want to be led by transparent, authentic people, right? Like, and that looks like actually admitting when you screw up, apologizing. I mean, I had some big fumbles. We had some things where, some of the people in the organization didn't think that we should have this policy in place or masks over here or this or that, or be open or be doing open houses, all these things. And it ultimately comes down to being humble, listening well. Okay. Right. My mom always said, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you talk. Great. That's been tough for me in my life, as you can tell.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, I think the other thing too is, as a leader, you have to remember that not everyone is going to love you, resonate with you, and that's okay. 33% of the people in your organization are going to love you. 33% are going to hate you. And 33% are going to ride somewhere in the middle where they're just kind of apathetic about the whole thing. And I believe the tipping point for any leader's success is in what we do with that middle 33%. Okay. And so again, it goes into how do we pour into the 33% that could be carried off to another company or another model or whatever? How do we pour into those people to bring them where they want to be? And so the biggest thing, and I think this applies directly to lenders, realtors, whatever, is just showing care. High levels of communication and high levels of care. We immediately started calling our people more. I started doing at 6:30 a.m. every single workday. I brought them through a process called Miracle Morning. I'd hop on Zoom, agents could jump on, and we'd go through this morning routine because I knew as soon as people lack structure, that's when they get in their own head about things. And so we went through silence and affirmations and visualization and exercise and reading and scribing. This is the Savers methodology that if you've never read Miracle Morning, you should. And so every morning, 6:30, I was on with a group of, it wasn't everyone. It was maybe 30 of our agents would hop on, right, and do these things. But I think it showed them, wow, this person, their team, his team, they really care about us. They'll wake up early in the morning to spend time with us so that we can have some type of structure in our day to keep us moving forward and in momentum. So that's just one easy application that I think we made during the pandemic.
Please tell the story of how you went from a biblical studies to insurance to being the CEO of KW Arizona.
Yeah, sure thing, Eric. So it's definitely an unconventional pathway to get to where I am today. And if you had asked me, even 5 years ago that I'd have the opportunity to lead one of the largest brokerages in the entire country, I wouldn't have even known that was like on the path. I didn't even know that was an opportunity. And yet, isn't it amazing how when you put yourself in the pathway of opportunity, opportunities show up. And I'm a big believer that if you bloom where you're planted, opportunity will find you. And it's just whether or not you're ready to receive that opportunity at the time. And so to give your listeners a little bit of a background, I grew up in the state of Maine in a little town of 1,500 people, one stoplight, really tiny town. And really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I knew I wanted to make money, but it was a very self-centered desire to make money. I didn't know why. I just wanted to be successful, and the way I defined success was with money. And so I actually, in my high school years, decided I was going to be a neurosurgeon. Okay, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. Okay. I'm going to go operate on brains. I am way too dumb to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm way too dumb.
Player.
But I read something online. I'm sure I was on like Yahoo or whatever the search engine was, Dogpile back then, and just like typed in like high paying jobs. And it was like neurosurgery. You make like $1 million a year. And I was like, yeah,
a normal person thing, but okay.
Exactly. So that's what I was convinced I was going to do until I got into biology class in like 10th grade and was like, no way, can't do that. I ended up going to college and actually declared accounting as my major. Okay. Why I went from neurosurgery to accounting was like, I have no idea there either. I literally fell asleep in my first class, woke up with drool, on my desk and was like, nope, accounting's not for me. I went down to the registrar's office.
You checked all the boxes and you realized accounting doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And so I became undeclared. Didn't know what I was going to do. Then I went down this pathway. I knew I loved serving people. I kind of went through this whole like transformation where I realized just like how how self-infatuated I was. This isn't putting anything on anyone else, but I think for me, I was just really asking what fills David up for David's sake. I just came to believe that wasn't a great way to live life. And so when that transformation kind of occurred, I figured to myself, what better thing to go into than vocational ministry, like in a church setting. I'm just going to give myself away. And so do this radical, like 360. And so at that point, real estate was not, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't care to buy real estate. I was not ever, I really didn't even know many people in real estate, honestly, which is kind of crazy because everyone and their grandmother's in real estate, right? So I do my undergrad in bib studies. I do most of my master's degree I go to seminary, right?
Wow.
And all the while I am racking up incredible amounts of debt. And then I realized, man, I'm going to come out of grad school with like 6 figures in college debt. And I'm going to go into this profession where like, I mean, not literally, but I mean, essentially taking a vow of poverty, if you will. And I'm like, that just doesn't, like, I can't do that. I was a young married man. I got married to my high school sweetheart, and it was just like, this isn't going to work. I need to stop and do something else. And that's when I fell into the insurance business. And so in the insurance business, not to drag this on, but I grew a rather successful insurance business in the Midwest. Dropped out of seminary because I was seeing doors open over here, and I continued to grow inside of that industry. Still, real estate wasn't really a thing on my radar until about 5 years in. And now we're probably at like, this would be about 2015, when I picked up a book and it was all about investing in notes. And we don't have to go down that pathway, except for to say it was at that point where I realized real estate was going to become a cornerstone in my wealth building journey. And I started to buy notes. I started to lend on some private real estate projects, and I started to build my own portfolio in real estate. Fast forward a couple more years, I got into business with Keller Williams Maine as their premier insurance partner. Okay, so grew up in Maine.
So you're
moved
still
to the
an
Midwest.
insurance guy right now.
Still in insurance. You're
doing real estate on the side, basically.
Basically just doing investment stuff on the side. Completely passive. I'm only lending money, buying notes, stuff like that. Nothing active. So moved back to Maine after having a couple kids. Premier insurance partner for Keller Williams Maine, which is the largest KW franchise there in New England, about 500 agents. And I'm there, living a good life, doing my insurance gig, but kind of getting bored, what else can we do? So I ended up getting licensed in real estate, and the brokerage management there said, hey, you know what? You're a good consultant. Like, you understand business. And they said, would you ever consider consulting some of our agents to help them grow their business? I said, well, I've never sold a house in my life, but if I can provide value, then, I'm open to it. And someone handed me this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the Bible of real estate. Okay. I don't care where your listeners are from, what business they're in. This book, whether you're in real estate or not, is immensely valuable. In fact, we run my wife's wedding photography. She's a highly successful luxury wedding photographer, travels all over the world. We run it on the budget model found in this, but that's a story for a different time.
Awesome.
Hand me that book, and I realized, wow, the insurance business isn't too much different than real estate. The commissions are a little bit different, and that's about it. And so I started my journey down brokerage management and helping realtors become more successful. And so that's really I know I just talked your ear off, but kind of the weird journey into real estate. Had the opportunity in 18 months to take that from 400 to 500 agents. We became the third most profitable Keller Williams brokerage in the entire world. And I've been kind of on that train ever since, just now with the Keller Williams Arizona franchise.
What's your proudest accomplishment And why does it bring you joy? And why is that your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment is still being madly in love with my high school sweetheart. We started dating at 17. We're going on 11 years. We have two beautiful twin boys and a foster daughter.
Oh,
We do foster care, and I could not have business success, personal success, or impact the world in the way that I get to without her. And so that's my proudest success.
tell me why you started to, what encouraged you to do the fostering?
The short of it is we both, my wife Jamie and I, have a heart to eradicate homelessness. And as busy professionals, she owns her own business. I'm running a big company here. It was hard for us to do that in ways such as volunteering at homeless shelters or trying to make political change. And so what we found out was that it's something like 50% of the kids that are in the system will end up homeless at some point in their lives. And so we are passionate about eradicating homelessness. And we just learned that one of the best ways we could do that is to attack it at its root by providing loving homes to children in need. And so we've had 4 placements. We're still learning. We stand like on the shoulders of giants who have done this for years and years. And so, in the years to come, you'll see a lot more from our family here in the Valley. Around this, we have big plans for fundraisers and things of that nature. But yeah, that's really where it stemmed. That was the heart behind it. We didn't think we could have kids early in our marriage. And so we were in the adoption process. And that's what kind of led us down this path of marrying kind of all of these passions together. We've learned a lot, and these kiddos have taught us a lot. And so, yeah, that's kind of our story.
Well, I've never shared this before, but I've been in more than 30 foster homes. I was one of those foster kids, and
Wow.
they're special. And I think in addition to you just being really good, strong Christian, fundamentally sound people, I think you can teach them a lot. Those environments, that environment, not to get off on a tangent, but it's not always, it's tough. I mean, it's a lot, it's a lot of bad. Everyone paints the foster family as like this great thing, and it's oh so nice, but like many of them are not nice.
Yeah.
To say,
I mean,
at the
I
very
can't.
least.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. And I think that's the thing. Like these kids need loving homes, and not all the homes that are out there are loving. And so if we can impact even one kid for a period of time, it's amazing, Eric, how many of my agents have come up to me, and our deepest connection has been over this. They were either in the foster system, or they have a sibling, or their parents did foster care, or they're interested in doing that. And so if we can even help be a conduit of helping others become, safe, loving homes for kids in need, then that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's funny. How old are the kids that you're caring for when you're watching them? What's the age range?
So because we have biological twins that are 6, we just have chosen to preserve our birth order. And so we take in kids younger than our sons. And as
Okay.
they get older, we move the age older.
Well, for what it's worth, and this is a total side note at this point, it's gone off the rails, but I started in the foster system when I was 7, and
Wow.
and I still remember the Trinkas at 7 years old. I remember them telling me that it was a farm. I remember them telling me you're gonna get sick of potatoes. You eat more potatoes than I've ever seen a kid eat before, and I was like, I'm never getting sick of potatoes. And 40 years later, I still love potatoes, right? I planted my own watermelon garden.
That's amazing.
When I first started there, I'll share this story. I hope you don't mind, but when I
Not
first
at all.
started, it might help in what you're trying to do to get like some idea of what what's going to happen going forward and kind of the impact that you can have on people, over the course of their entire life. But one of the things that happens with foster kids is, for the most part, they're not taught anything. So I didn't know anything. But the problem with that is that you're also highly resistant to anything that people will tell you. So you don't know anything, but you can't learn it either, because everybody that you've interacted with has probably not been necessarily a great person to give good advice. So we were sitting around eating watermelon one time, and I was like, this is gonna make me seem stupid, but stay with me. I was like, what are these? What are these little black things? And they go, those are seeds. I go, what are seeds? I'm 7 years old. Like, what are seeds? And they go, you don't know what a seed is? I go, no. They go, that's a tiny watermelon. And I was like, what? Like, a watermelon comes from this little thing? And they're like, yeah, that's what we do here. We plant these little seeds and we grow things. I was like, oh, right? So I was like, I ate all of my thing, and I go, can I have your seeds? Can I have your seeds? And I took everybody's seeds, and I'm like, I just put them in the ground? And so they go, yeah. And they're like, they went out there, and they had this little piece of their yard. And they're like, you can have this little piece. You can do whatever you want with it. Put your seeds in there. And there you go. And so I was like, okay. So I dug up that little ground, and I did my little thing. I put my seeds in there. I watered it. Weeds try to get in there, get those weeds out of there, right? And then nothing happened. Like, for a long time, nothing happened. And so I was like, oh, just like everything else, big disappointment, right? So then I don't even know how I started this stupid, so I feel so embarrassed. But I'm telling you this story. It's stupid.
Yeah, I think it's great, Eric.
Okay,
actually,
okay.
And I have a few things that are coming to my mind.
I'm gonna finish. I'm in it now. I can't stop now. But
no. You've dug it too deep.
I'm already committed. I'm committed. So that was at the beginning of the summer. At the end of the summer, I had to go get some kind of tool that was lost, like, way in the woods. So I walked by, and my little yard was overfilled with watermelons. Like there were so many, almost like so many watermelons. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And I ate. I never did get the tool. I sat in the dirt, and I ate every single one of those watermelons until I passed out. I ate so many watermelons. And then just
watermelon coma. I love it.
And then I had like the worst sunburn. And I believe I woke up and started still eating the watermelons. It was the greatest, one of the best days I ever had, ever. Yeah. And my point to the story is that it might seem like a little thing sometimes when you're sharing and when you're teaching and when you're leading, and then, in some ways you're structuring, right? But the stuff that you're doing for your kids and for your foster kids, it stays in there. And it really makes a difference. And the way with foster kids in particular is that they're almost like they're shocked with gamma radiation. You don't know what's going to happen. There's always something special. It could be they're extra brittle. It could be they're extra hard. They're extra mean. They're extra loving. There's always something special that comes out of that tremendous strain. And for you and all the foster families to be there is an incredible responsibility. And knowing that you're out there and that you're doing it, and that you're such a successful person, and you certainly don't need there's a lot of complications which you would never talk about. There's a lot of struggle and worry and fear on some levels you would never talk about. To go through that is just awesome, man. It's just awesome.
Well, I appreciate you saying it. And, you can't give what you haven't been given. And that's just the story, of my life. Is I've been given a lot, and how do we turn that out for good in the world? And again, we mess it up. We're not like these like perfect people by any means. And yet where we can make an impact, we really want to continue to try. And so whether it be in real estate and impacting realtors, in business in general, investing, or in the foster system, like anything that I can do to help bring a person along so that they can do more good in the world, I'm all about it.
Okay. So I'm going to link everything you want. What's the best thing to bring attention to the stuff that you're doing? Obviously, want to put the podcast at the bottom because I want everybody to see that. But don't still be a fan of this one. Don't just because your podcast is way better than it's great. I know it's great.
Erik, it's gonna be great. Hey, if your listeners want to connect with me, the best place to find me is on Instagram at David D Morse. It's like Morse code, beep 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 beep. David D Morse on Instagram.
Okay. Instagram links down there. I'm going to include a link to the Keller Williams Arizona site. You should look at that. They have a fantastic culture. If you're thinking about getting into real estate or you're maybe looking to make a move, I know that there's a phenomenal support system there. Because if there weren't, there's no way you'd be growing at a time where a lot of companies are dying. And so, of course, I'll put the podcast in there. And thank you, David Morse, for being on the show today. You were absolutely awesome.
Erik, thank you so much, man. I wish you nothing but the best and most success. Happy holidays since we're around that time, and look forward to connecting with you in person sometime.
Drop it the comment, like it, and subscribe. Blah, blah, blah. Thee knowest thy drilleth. Whoa.